You heard of this incident, or maybe you haven't, but it's in the Sunday World. I will leave a link into the description. But I suppose the main topic of this is to talk about this and then talk about, because in recent years we've seen this time and time again, people breaking into people's houses, breaking the law and stuff like that on people's property, trespassing on people's property, and people using force. The people who are being broken into, using force to get rid of them people. Obviously, by using reasonable force, not just shooting them outright. But this incident in Mayo is another thing, because again, the farmer was more or less being quiet. The Gardaí are more or less crying at the farmer for doing it. But again, the people to blame for all these burglaries, etc., etc., doesn't go to Shinnecoin and the justice system, because when they get caught, sometimes they get caught, because the Gardaí are just too lazy to bother to go and look for them. The judges let them off it. So, that's just the best thing. But if the Dare didn't have the TV license, there'd be a different story said. But long story short, there was a 62-year-old farmer in Mayo. This is just Thursday gone by. And he's been burgled 3 times in the last year, I think it has been. Yeah, in the last year. And as you can imagine, it's very frightening. You've been violated into your home and into your property, him being a farmer. You've been violated, because nobody should be in your area, your personal area, your private property that you own. Nobody should be there taking your stuff. It's not right, because you paid for it. I've experienced it before. Somebody tried to break into our house before, and I still probably have PTSD over the bit and stuff like that, but I still feel frightened and stuff over it, to be totally honest. And I will admit that, and that's years ago now at this stage, but I understand what the farm is explaining, and especially because the Gardaí done nothing. They didn't get them. They only got them now because the farmer literally shot at the fan. But he didn't hit the people. That's the main thing. He didn't hit them. He hit the fan. But it'd teach them a lesson, because it was the same gang that done it 3 times. They teach them a lesson. They won't do it again. That's the thing. You often heard you get the slap on the wrist. Your mother would come along with a spoon and hit you in the hand. You wouldn't do it again if you done something wrong, or you got a spank in the backside, etc., etc. You wouldn't do it again. That'll teach you how not to do it again. And especially here, the burglars, if they do go to prison or whatever, they're known for, again, not to go breaking into people's properties in case they have a gun that might kill you. And they learn the hard way. And that's the thing. They might learn a lesson now more than prison would teach them. But in this case, the Gardaí seized the shotgun at the person, and now they're more or less saying, as they did before, to everybody that defends themselves, you're a dangerous individual, etc., etc. But in this case, I do think the farmer used reasonable force to get rid of them, because again, they've done it 3 times, so we're going to keep doing it, because why would they not stop if nobody was going to stop them? That's the only way. And I do think you're entitled, especially if somebody. There was an incident in Dublin too about 2 months ago, when somebody was in somebody's backyard and then they used the slash hook to slash the person's leg or whatever it was. And I don't know what happened there, but long story short, as it says in the law, in the Drellin law of 2011, you have the right to use reasonable force. Now, you don't just shoot the person. You obviously tell them to leave the property and all that first. But if they, like in this case, the people insisted 3 times to come along and burgle the person's house. So what they were trying to take in this occasion was a chainsaw, etc., etc. So thousands of euro worth of equipment. And the Gardaí, in other words, what the justice system in this country and the Gardaí would expect you to do is just sit there and let them do it. And they never turn up the equipment, they never find them again. And the Gardaí maybe would come out, maybe they won't. Because there was a person that had €1,000 worth of tour stole in Cavan Woods, and the Wrangle Garda Shinnecoin. The Gardaí said they'd be out to take a statement, never bothered. Just didn't care. Didn't bother. So that happened before. And then there was one time there was a tour stolen, a very expensive tour. The guards went out, took a report, never heard from them again. They said they'll be back in touch in a few days. Never bothered. That's just simple as that. Just not bothered to follow things up. That's just the thing. So I do think in this incident, the farmer just had enough. He just had enough. And again, it's a fully licensed gun, etc., etc. Because this is how they get a gun in Ireland. Any kind of gun. I presume it was a shotgun, more than a pistol or a rifle or anything in that stage. But especially because it is a rural kind of area, it's not in a built up town, as far as I can gather from this. But I do think it's justified. If he'd be different if he shot the people now, but I do think it's justified him frightening them in a way, I suppose, to defend his property, especially because again they were going to just keep doing it. But hopefully the people that were burgling this farm learned the lesson, and hopefully other people wouldn't go and annoy him now. But hopefully they learned the lesson. That was the main thing about it, I'm sure, that they learned the lesson. If they do it again, they might face even worse things. But he's just sick and tired of it, and we have to understand that. And I don't think this man should face any and shouldn't have the shotgun or anything seized, to be totally honest. Because I think he was just defending himself, defended his property, didn't want things to happen. Because again, that we have to explain this too, that even if he rang the Gardaí instead, the Gardaí would take an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours to be long gone to be in another country by the time the Gardaí would turn up. And even at that, when the Gardaí, as I said in them cases, the Gardaí would turn up, take a statement and goodbye, never seen again. And they never get the people, and thousands of euro worth of equipment gone for good and never heard of again. Even with Syrian, the Gardaí just wouldn't be bothered to find out who done it or look about it. But it's just not acceptable that these criminal gangs go around doing this and get off with it and keep getting off with it. Like, there's many gangs that do it all the time and they just get off with it. So hopefully, again, these people learn the lesson, and hopefully they do go to jail and learn the lesson along with it. Maybe they might become out of reformed people and might never do it again. Because I'm sure to God, if that was me burgling somebody's property or into that, if somebody shot at me, I would learn a lesson very quick. That I shouldn't go around into people's gardens or into people's yards and take the equipment, because next time it might be a bit more severe. But again, this man lives on his own. He's in his 60s. He has the property as a farm. It's unacceptable that people go and bother him in this way and take his tours and want to get rid of his livelihood. It's just not acceptable. And especially because it does seem like this man is a law-abiding citizen. He's not a criminal or into that. He's not a person that causes issues. He has a licensed gun, etc. It's not an illegal gun. So, to be totally honest, he done nothing wrong in this case. And I do just think he was trying to fight him. I don't think he was trying to kill them. I know there was an incident in Mayo, not too far away from this actually, in 2004, so that I remember the big a farmer shot a fellow from trespassing his property. Now it was reduced to manslaughter, etc., but there was a big debate over that, and this is why this law was probably put in 2011. But I do think it's justified in individual answer, because again, the Gardaí, and this is the thing, it's the same even if somebody attacks you on the street, you have a right to hit them back. You have a right to hit them back. If they keep hitting you, you have a right to defend yourself. You can't just sit there and take it and let them go to Shinnecondo come, because when the guards come, they let them off with it anyway. So it's better to hit them. It's better to hit them back, or try and de-escalate it obviously first, and then use reasonable force. That's the word we need to use. You can't just go and smack people around, etc., etc. But it is unacceptable that this carry on goes on in this country, and the only people who need to be blamed is the Gardaí and the justice system, because they're not efficient. If there was a fear of going to prison for a long time, for a few years, for doing these burglaries, they wouldn't be doing it. That's the fact of the matter. To be in for a month, let out, suspended sentence maybe, community service a few hours, let off, basically let off scot-free. And the poor people like this that had to go through it again, I went through when I was younger, but they didn't thankfully break in, but they attempted to break in, etc., etc. Still with me, I suppose. You do feel very violated, etc., etc., and it's a fear, it's a constant fear, especially when you live on your own. I feel sorry for this man that he had to go through this, because again, he didn't ask for them to come and take his stuff. He was minding his own business in his house that he paid for, etc., etc. Nobody should be annoying him. That's the thing. But hopefully, maybe these people hopefully might be reformed people after this, and might choose a different path in life. We can only hope, but hopefully the man too does. Hopefully be a bit more safe for now. Hopefully the Gardaí do something for him. We can hopefully people can do something from his area, etc., etc. And hopefully people might learn a lesson from this, that to annoy people in their property, etc., etc. But anyway, let me know what you think. I know some people would say it's a bit extreme. But at the end of the day, when you get burgled constantly every day, and every night you're awake, afraid of somebody breaking in and coming in and violating your space and taking your equipment that's worth thousands, you would be very upset. Anybody would. We can't lie about it. Anybody would. And in this case, I do think the man used reasonable force. I don't think he meant to hurt them. I think he just meant to frighten them, which I think he did. Thankfully, he did. But we see what comes of it. Thank you.